Hi everybody, welcome to the first video in my Jackie Chan marathon. In this series I'm going to try to review most of the Jackie Chan movies. The problem is I did not know where to start, so I decided to go with my own order. I watched the fucking movie I feel like at the moment. The first movie I chose to watch was actually one of his latest movies, The Forbidden Kingdom. This is the first movie ever to star the two legends Jackie Chan and Jet Li together, which is kinda cool. The plot revolves around a boy named Jason who lives somewhere in the south of Boston. Being a huge fan of kung fu movies, he spends most of his time in a small pawn shop owned by an old Chinese man, played by Jackie Chan himself. Here we can fantasize about how he will look like in about 30 years or so. Long story short, Jason gets bullied in school, forced to help a gang of thugs to rob the old man. The old man gets shot and Jason runs for it, grabbing an old war staff thingy on his way out. Somehow he falls off a building and ends up in the Forbidden Kingdom. Thought I rushed through the intro? Well, I didn't. That's basically how fast it happens in the movie. Here's the problem with this intro. If you were repelled by the teen flick feeling, the Shia LaBeouf lookalike, and the kind of quick way the intro was told to you, you've probably changed the channel. Right now you're watching Grey's Anatomy. Your loss. As I was saying, Jason ends up in the Forbidden Kingdom. Fuck it, let's just cut the bullshit. It's Kung Fu Land. This is where you realize the ironic tone of the movie. If you haven't realized it yet, you will the moment Jason meets a very drunk Kung Fu master, also played by Jackie Chan. It's basically his character from the Drunken Master movies, a series I will talk about later in this marathon. This movie is nothing but a celebration and a spoof of every Kung Fu movie ever made. Anyway, to wrap the plot up, the Forbidden Kingdom is ruled by an evil warlord who's actually a stand-in for the real emperor who's meditating for 500 years, the lazy fuck. The staff Jason found belongs to the Monkey King, who was tricked and imprisoned by the warlord many hundred years ago. Jason decides to join up with two masters and a hot chick on a quest to return the staff to its rightful owner and save the kingdom. It's nothing new really, and the movie doesn't even try to hide it. Instead it's trying to make its own thing by adding the American boy, but ends up copying even more movies by doing that. A weird thing is that when Jason arrives, no one understands him, because everybody's speaking Chinese. But the moment he meets Jackie Chan, suddenly everybody speaks English.
Hey! Enough from you! It's my student, not yours.
The big problem here is that a lot of actors in the movie aren't that good at English, which forces you to use English subtitles to understand some of the plot.
Two tigers cannot lift the same mountain. Two masters cannot teach the same student.
This makes me wonder why they even had Jason in the movie. He's the only American boy in the Forbidden Kingdom, which forces everybody else to speak English. Shouldn't it be the other way around? Jason has the time to become very good at Kung Fu, but he doesn't learn a fucking word of Chinese. Anyway, the big high point in this movie is the first time Jet Li and Jackie Chan meets, which ends up in one of the most epic fights I've seen in a long time. It's a shame they used a lot of style from the later Kung Fu movie years, which is a lot of special effects and flying, instead of the old school Jackie Chan movies, which are based on good choreography. All in all, this movie is pretty okay. If you learn to accept that Jason feels very out of place at times and that he forces everybody to speak English because he's a lazy dick, you might get some enjoyment out of it. Otherwise, you will always have the scene where Jet Li pees on Jackie Chan.
You are an insult to the name of Buddha! Blasphemy!